Imagine Europe in 1914 as a group chat. Everyone dislikes everyone else, half the members have secret side chats, several people are showing off their new weapons, and two cousins are arguing over who owns a field. Then somebody gets assassinated. 1 month later, most of Europe is at war. So how did one murder trigger World War I? The short answer is, it did not. Not by itself. Europe had spent years carefully stacking barrels of gunpowder. The assassination merely provided the match. Before the war, Europe was dominated by powerful empires. Britain controlled the world's largest empire. France also possessed colonies around the globe. Germany had become powerful very quickly and wanted more influence. Russia was enormous. Austria-Hungary controlled several different ethnic groups. And the Ottoman Empire, once extremely powerful, was slowly weakening. These countries competed for land, wealth, and military power. Britain looked at Germany's growing navy and thought, "Why are you building so many ships?" Germany replied, "No reason." There was definitely a reason. European countries were producing more rifles, artillery, and battleships. Governments created enormous armies, and military leaders developed detailed plans for the next war. Unfortunately, many of those plans depended on attacking immediately. This meant that when a crisis began, leaders had very little time to stop and ask, "Are we perhaps making a terrible mistake?" Spoiler, they were. Europe was also divided by alliances. Germany and Austria-Hungary were close allies.
Italy was technically part of their alliance too, although Italy would later look at the agreement and say, "That sounds like your problem." On the other side, France had an alliance with Russia. Britain also had agreements and understandings with France and Russia. These alliances were supposed to prevent war. The logic was simple. If attacking one country meant fighting all its friends, nobody would risk starting anything. It was international security based on everyone pointing a weapon at everyone else. Very calming. Then there was the Balkans, a region in southeastern Europe containing countries such as Serbia. Austria-Hungary controlled Bosnia, but many Slavic people living there wanted independence. Some wanted Bosnia to join neighbouring Serbia. Serbia supported the idea of uniting South Slavic peoples.
Austria-Hungary viewed this as a serious threat. If one ethnic group gained independence, others inside the empire might demand the same thing. Austria-Hungary could begin falling apart. So relations between Austria-Hungary and Serbia were already extremely tense. Now we reach June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary, visited Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. A group of young Bosnian Serb nationalists planned to assassinate him. One attacker threw a bomb at the Archduke's car. The bomb missed, bounced away, and exploded beneath another vehicle. Franz Ferdinand survived and continued with his visit. At this point, a sensible person might have ended the public car journey. They did not. Later, Franz Ferdinand decided to visit the people injured in the bombing.
His driver was not properly informed about the changed route and turned onto the wrong street. When the mistake was noticed, the car stopped. By extraordinary bad luck, one of the conspirators, Gavrilo Princip, was standing nearby. Princip approached the vehicle and shot Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie. Both died. The famous story is sometimes told as if the driver's wrong turn single-handedly caused World War I. That is memorable but misleading. A wrong turn placed the Archduke in front of the assassin. It did not force European governments to spend the following month choosing escalation at nearly every opportunity. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for the assassination.
There were links between the assassins and Serbian nationalist networks, but the Serbian government's exact responsibility was less clear. Austria-Hungary saw an opportunity to weaken Serbia permanently. But attacking Serbia could bring Russia into the conflict, because Russia considered itself the protector of Serbia and other Slavic nations. Austria-Hungary therefore asked Germany for support. Germany essentially replied, "Whatever you decide, we are behind you." Historians call this Germany's blank check. It was less like responsible diplomacy and more like handing your furious friend your credit card outside a shop called Consequences. With German support secured, Austria-Hungary sent Serbia an ultimatum.
An ultimatum is a list of demands followed by the diplomatic phrase, do this or else. Some demands were deliberately difficult for Serbia to accept because Austria-Hungary expected and possibly wanted a refusal. Serbia accepted most of the demands, but rejected or questioned a few that threatened its independence. Austria-Hungary declared the response insufficient. On July 28th, exactly 1 month after the assassination, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. At this moment, the conflict was still between two countries. Then the alliances and military plans began pulling everyone else in. Russia started mobilizing its enormous army to support Serbia and prepare for a possible war against Austria-Hungary and Germany. Mobilization meant calling up soldiers, organizing trains, and moving troops toward the borders. Today, we might see this as preparation. In 1914, mobilization was practically the opening stage of an attack. Once millions of soldiers and thousands of trains started moving, stopping the process was extremely difficult. Germany told Russia to stop mobilizing. Russia did not. Germany declared war on Russia. France was Russia's ally, so Germany expected France to join the conflict. Germany's military plan called for defeating France quickly before turning east to fight the slower-moving Russian army. There was one small complication. Reaching France quickly meant marching through neutral Belgium. Germany asked Belgium to allow German troops through. Belgium said no, because allowing a foreign army to invade your country is generally considered poor border management. Germany invaded Belgium anyway. Britain had promised to protect Belgian neutrality. Britain was also concerned that a German victory over France would make Germany far too powerful. So Britain declared war on Germany. Let us pause and review. Austria-Hungary attacked Serbia. Russia moved to support Serbia. Germany supported Austria-Hungary and declared war on Russia. France supported Russia. Germany attacked France by invading Belgium. Britain entered to defend Belgium and prevent Germany from dominating Europe. Italy initially stayed out despite its alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary. It later joined the opposing side after being promised territory. The Ottoman Empire eventually joined Germany and Austria-Hungary. Other countries entered later, including the United States in 1917. European empires also pulled soldiers and resources from colonies across Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and the Pacific. That is how a crisis in the Balkans became a world war. But why did the leaders not simply negotiate? They did try, briefly. The problem was that nearly every government believed waiting would make its position weaker. Austria-Hungary feared losing control of its empire. Russia feared abandoning Serbia and losing influence in the Balkans. Germany feared being surrounded by France and Russia. France feared another German attack. Britain feared one country dominating Europe. Everyone claimed to be acting defensively while taking steps that looked aggressive to everyone else. Nationalism made compromise appear weak. Military schedules created pressure to act quickly. Alliances turned a local dispute into a continental emergency, and many leaders believed the war would be short. Soldiers were told they might return home by Christmas. Instead, the Western Front became a brutal line of trenches. Machine guns, artillery, poison gas, and barbed wire turned attacks into mass slaughter. The war lasted more than 4 years. Around 20 million soldiers and civilians died, although estimates vary. Empires collapsed, borders changed, revolutions followed, and the peace settlement created new anger and instability, particularly in Germany, helping prepare the conditions for World War II. So, did the assassination of Franz Ferdinand cause World War I? It was the immediate trigger. But the deeper causes were militarism, alliances, imperial competition, nationalism, and governments repeatedly choosing escalation over compromise. Think of Europe as a room filled with leaking gas. The assassination struck the match, but dozens of powerful people had spent years refusing to open a window. World War I did not begin because every leader wanted a world war. It began because each country pursued what it considered its own safety, honor, or advantage, and together they created a catastrophe none of them could control.
History's most dangerous group chat had finally stopped typing and started firing.